So as we all know, the world is in a great space at the moment, but that has brought some good or bad things to the sim racing community. We are seeing a lot more real life racing drivers come into the sim racing scene and be getting a lot of decent racing with these virtual Grand Prix and some other races organised on iRacing. Both Brandon and I have come up with some good and bad things that we have thought of while watching these events, and we'll go through those today. Please bear in mind that these are our opinions and anyone can have different feelings. We're just broadcasting our feelings at the moment. There are good and bad things, so let's get to the bad things first, I guess. Before we proceed in the video, we want to say a huge thanks to Aniba for sponsoring this video. Aniba.com is a new gaming marketplace with over 10,000 digital products in their library and are always expanding to become your go-to place for your gaming needs. On Aniba you'll find the best deals in the marketplace for any titles, both new and old. With their excellent Trustpilot score, you can be confident your gaming will continue without any trouble. Aniba also has their customers at heart and offer 24/7 live support to clear any concern you might have with your purchase. I just picked up a Assetto Corsa for only $6 and saving 72%, but you can also add our discount code Unleashed for an extra 3% off. So head on over to aniba.com to get that game you've always wanted.
When this all started happening and we started hearing the news of real racing drivers coming to the sim racing and they're going to be doing all these live events, I was pretty excited, and I'm sure a lot of us were too. We're going to be getting more opportunities to race against these guys to see how we compare to them. And I don't know, just race them in fun races and competitive events like some have. But as these events have happened, I've started to think maybe it isn't as great as it first sounded. So one thing that's become rather obvious to me after seeing some of these events is the real drivers aren't really taking it that seriously. And I know it's a so-called game, but there are people out there that treat this like it's serious, and rightfully so. A lot of people put a lot of time into sim racing, and obviously some people do it professionally. But anyway, with the real drivers not quite taking it seriously, you see a lot of crashes and very overly aggressive driving. And we have people that aren't normally into sim racing watching these events, so it was very cool with the thought of bringing new people into sim racing. They haven't quite watched it before. But when they see things like this crashing here and there, it really does emphasize game rather than sim racing. So that is one negative point that I've picked up on with watching these events. But it's not necessarily all bad. There are drivers that give it a good shot, but obviously if you watch these events, there's a lot of overly aggressive driving and it doesn't seem to be taken 100% seriously. Another thing we've been picking up on is by watching regular sim racers streams, like obviously Jimmy Broadbent, and there's a lot of them out there, but when you watch their streams and there's crashes or anything of the sort, someone spins and the sim racer is involved, so obviously not the real race driver, the live chat really erupts and starts attacking the streamer, which I think is a bit ridiculous. And it almost seems like everyone expects real racing drivers to be 100% perfect all the time. In a lot of the cases, it's just really overly aggressive driving from the real race drivers that end up causing these accidents. And we get these streamers being unfairly attacked, and I don't think that's really necessary.
So this isn't much of a real racing driver thing, but more of a organised events kind of thing. So most of these events with different car varieties, like in the F1 game, the newcomers and viewers that don't have that much knowledge on sim racing, I'd expect they would be expecting real life car performance in these races. So to see a Williams up there with Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari in the last Australian Virtual Grand Prix, that probably would have put a lot of people off. Now I know that this is obviously done to keep everyone equal in real life. This is what people want. Some people want equal cars in F1, and we can actually get that in these sorts of events. And as well as damage being turned off with most of these events, again going back to the F1 Grand Prix, or virtual Grand Prix, I'm pretty sure both of them so far have had damage off, but I can't exactly remember the Bahrain one. So it was quite weird to see a car spin off and hit a wall and then completely fine and then continue on. This also promotes aggressive driving, the ridiculous moves that some people may have been pulling off.
So there definitely are some good things about all of this. It does bring more people to sim racing. Whether they enjoy it or not, it still brings a bigger audience, and that the bigger the audience, the more people share it, obviously, and then it gets even bigger. But we get to see this not only on YouTubers' live streams, we also get to see it on TV, like Sky, they're broadcasting it, and I think that's pretty cool. Also, a good thing about all of this is popular sim racers and esports drivers get to race with these guys, and it must be a really good experience for them. And not only in the organised events, you also might see these guys just racing around in casual events and iRacing. For example, Hayden managed to get into a race with Romain Grosjean in a Mazda MX-5 race, I believe.
No, it was the BMW M8 at Lime Rock.
Alright, and then a few weeks back I also got to have a race with Shane Van Gisbergen, and that's a really weird thing to happen, but it happens out there. So I think it's another cool thing about seeing all these racing drivers in the Sims, and you get to experience that, which you might not experience at any other time. You also get really close competitive racing. When everyone is clean and they're focusing, there are some really good battles, and there's definitely no lack of it when everybody's behaving.
As well as watching sim racers and real life drivers race between each other, watching real life drivers race each other in equal cars is also very entertaining. We can see the true colours in each driver and see who's the true fastest driver out of all of them.
These have been our opinions on the situation. Everyone's going to have their own opinions, and you might not agree with what we say, and you might have some other thoughts, and we'd like to hear those in the comments. I'm sure people would like to discuss that. Keep it civilized, don't attack each other for their opinions, but yeah, continue the discussion in the comments, and thank you all for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it, and obviously let us know what other sort of content you want to see on the channel. Thanks again, and we'll see you all next time.